Morning, everyone. For my corner of the world is morning. I'm connecting from Lagos State, Nigeria. My name is Precious Emodamori.
Hello and welcome to Obehi Podcast. I'm your host, Obehi A14, and I strongly believe that everyone has a story to share. Now let's get started with this episode.
I'm a photographer, I'm a content writer, and I'm also passionate about mental health, positive mental health advocacy.
All right, thank you so much, Precious. So how is Lagos today to start with?
Lagos is bright, it's sunny, and that's the best way we want Lagos to be without the rain.
It's as bright at your face this morning because you are looking very bright and shining this morning.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Yes, I am. Thank you.
All right, so tell me, how do you get started with your business? Tell us a little bit about that, a kind of a background.
Okay, you mean my photography business or the whole Bamboozle business itself?
Yeah, the business itself. Which one is it? Which one is your maybe? Is it photography or some other things?
I do all. I do photography. I do content also. I'll do a little bit of digital marketing.
Okay.
So what happened is I used to work in a publishing firm, and I used to work as a marketer, actually, marketing as executive. And we produce magazines, we produce books. And in the magazine, I used to be the advert executive. So I had the responsibility of marketing products, getting adverts into the magazine. So I did that for like 5 years. And at some point in my career as an advert executive, I realized that people value their products being online. They like to market their products online. So when you go to them with a magazine and you tell them, put your advert in the magazine, they will tell you, no, I don't think the magazine is going to circulate my adverts. So I started selling the idea of coming on Facebook to market, coming on Instagram, coming on Twitter to market. So that was how I started digital marketing. Now, to do digital marketing very well, you have to be good in content. So it's not enough to have a social media account. One has to be particular about the kind of content you push out. So naturally, I love to read. So I realized that this new niche brought out that part of me that love content, that loves to read. I love to give value. So to market someone's product online, I had to research about that product, create content around that product, and then market the product. So that brought me into content writing. So I did that for quite a number of clients. And then how did photography come into the picture? So I had this client, she has a fashion brand somewhere outside the country, and she wanted me to help push her brand on social media platforms. I created content for her, created a voice for her brand, and then we had to outsource to a photographer to create images. So going back and forth, I realized that it is an important part of digital marketing and content marketing. And proud to that time, I am someone who is passionate about images. So even without being told, I'll take my phone, I'll capture images, and then I'll post them and write a story about them. So I realized, okay, I have this passion about being a photographer. Why don't I go take a training? So in 2017, I enrolled to be trained as a professional photographer. I finished my training at the end of 2017 and then got a space and started my business as a photographer, content writer, and digital marketer. So that's where we are. We've moved from one space to another space. We've been working since 2018. We have like 3 or 4 staff within, and we have some freelancers. So we write content, we do photography, we do for brands, we create content for brands, create branding images for the companies also, and then we sell for them online. Some customers will say, help me market this on so and so platform, and we help them to market their products. So that's pretty much how content, photography, and digital marketing wraps together for me. So I offer all of those services with a company name called Bamboozle Limited. And the other name for it is like a brand, is actually Bamboozle Studio. So if you go on social media platform, you'll find us at Bamboozle Studio also.
So most of these businesses that you deal with are all in Lagos, or also maybe, anyway, I know you did mention of the fact that you did work with one that was not in Nigeria. So I'm trying to understand if they are all local businesses, or you also do international as a big part of your portfolio.
Okay, I can work for any brand. It's it's not location limited. I can do remote work. If I have some customers, like I said, outside the country who tell me I want to achieve AYZ. So what do? I ask them questions about the brand, create the content, send to them for approval. If they like it, and then I schedule it, or I create a campaign around what they are trying to market. So we don't have an office outside of the country, but we can take clients outside of the country because it's basically a remote kind of job. You don't have to be present with me to get the work done. You can send me emails. We can work with social media platforms. We have Slack. We have different platforms we can work on to achieve the results. You just need to be able to monitor your progress.
That's very interesting. So tell me, how does this type of business, the kind of business that you are in, which is the content creation, you are using media, you are using photography. I want to believe that you are also using video. Is that correct?
Yes, I do videos, though I'm trying to take it to make it top notch by doing professional videos. But I have a few videos on my YouTube channel, and I'm working on making them more professional by getting the right settings for them. But the videos I have online right now are casual videos of myself while working in the studio or talking about mental health advocacy or just addressing photography work.
Okay, so I'm trying to understand how this kind of business is actually is set up. How easy is it to survive or to succeed in Nigeria? Because if you can succeed in Nigeria, I mean, because there is a lot of Nigerians who are looking for a way to, of course, have their share of the internet business now. Because now you don't have anybody that's going to give you a job. You need to have your own job, create your own job. Of course, there are all the challenges around it anyway you might find yourself. So I'm looking particularly in the Nigerian case. How do you set it up? How easy is it for you to organize your digital creation business?
Okay, in Nigeria, when it comes to content creation, I believe strongly there's still a gap. People don't seem to understand the importance of having the right content. Although after the COVID-19 era and all of that changed a bit. There was a paradigm shift. More people are online. More people acknowledge the fact that they can sell organically on social media platform, online platform. We have more people having websites now. We have more people maximizing tools like WhatsApp Business. We have more people using different platforms. There are more apps out there that leverages on the internet to reach their customers. But I still think that one has to be technically equipped to manage these platforms. So one of the first things to do before you think of starting a business, you need to understand the platforms and understand how it works for you. For instance, apart from having an organic brick structure, so you have an office space, the internet is to have an internet space. You have a domain name, you create your business, they let your website be interactive. I'm also working on that personally. When you get to your website, people should be able to send you messages from there and say, I want to do so and so business with you. And then you have your list of offering and your services available for them to glance through and make a choice and then commit themselves with payment, and then you offer your service. So it starts with one, having your passion. I'm not talking about how to start your business, have your passion. In this era, be technically skilled, have the right skills, and then research. Don't go into a business you don't know anything about. At least research, at least know at least 50% of what the business entails. Know the risk, know your SWOT analysis, know your strengths, your weakness, your opportunities, your threats. So every business have their peculiarities. In the content and photography business, for instance, we have people who tell you that it's overpriced. They think it's overpriced. They think that content is overpriced, but they also forget the fact that to create content costs a lot of money. You're buying equipment, you're using data, you have work, you have staff, you have to pay who are on ground, you're doing a video, you have to get the right equipment if you want the right result, because mediocrity won't work when it comes to online content and all of that. You have to be top notch to be able to attract the right audience, especially if you're selling to the international audience. So you have to consider all of that. That is not to say that you won't start, you have to start, but even while you start small, you're committed to growing. You're committed to the process. So every day I come into the workspace and I'm growing. I'm in one Zoom meeting, I'm learning something new, I'm implementing something new, I'm making new investments here to get better equipment. I'm stretching myself to bring out the best from me to put the business going. I'm making sure that the content I'm pushing out for clients and for myself and for my brands are top notch, such that someone gets to interact with that content
and they feel happy that they did interact with that content. Oh, right. That's great. Now, what about the preliminary resources that you need? In this case, now we're talking of electricity and the data, no? Okay, internet, no? So tell me about that. How easy is it to access and how does it work? I mean, also in terms of the reliability, because if you need to connect to people that are outside Nigeria now, you need at least those two things. Now, we're not even talking of the computer. So just with those two, help me with that.
Yeah. Right. That's a power. Power is, when you stay in this part of the world, Nigeria, Lagos City, you have to live prepared. So you don't rely on one network. For instance, I have MTN, I have Glo, I have Etisalat, I have Airtel. So at every point in time, one network will decide to misbehave. I switch to the other network. But you understand, and that is also an investment. Having to buy all of those kind of modems and invest in procuring data for them is an investment. Now, if a person is not equipped enough to make that kind of investment, it could make the business, could slow down the progress of the business. Then the issue of power, like I said, in this part of the world, you have to live prepared. So you have your generating set, or you have your inverter, or you have alternative source of power, or you decide to have appliances that have backup power so that they run for a while, and before they go, like your phone, before they get weak, you charge them up again. So there's really no excuse why a person shouldn't kind of make some progress, because if you're living with the mindset of I need to have a backup plan, it will be hard for you to have that issue of, because I didn't have power, I couldn't deliver my job, or you have an international client and you're like, I can't deliver the job, except probably you're not feeling fine and you are not able to delegate to someone to assist you. But there really shouldn't be an excuse, because you have the option when it comes to data to have multiple sources of data. All of them cannot break down at the same time. They can't all network at the same time. Itself is a very, very serious issue. It is expensive. It not pays for everything. Accommodation, pays for the internet, pays the work with the staff, pays tax. I pay tax in my business. I know it's not funny. You do lots of payments. So at the end of the day, when you make sales or you offer services and you are paid, sometimes I ask myself, wow, so was it really worth it? Because by the time you deduct all of those utilities, you find out that what's left is small. But then there's that part of an entrepreneur that keeps going, something that tells you, just keep going. One day, you break even. After all, Rome wasn't built in a day, so you just keep going. There's that staying power, which everybody should have when you believe in a vision. Having a business is like having a child. You don't give up on your child because the child isn't performing the way you want. You keep nurturing, you keep pouring water. It's like having a garden. You keep pouring water there, you keep removing the weeds, believing that one day this plant is going to give you what you desire from it, either a fruit or the beauty or the satisfaction you want from nurturing that garden. That's pretty much what it's about.
Thank you so much for that, dear Precious. Now, let's talk about the skill. The skill is very important. I think it was 2020, we spend a lot of time talking about soft skill because it is very important. If you are going to work in this type of online environment where nobody is there to monitor you and you are going to have to deliver if you say you are going to do something, because what the people want to see is your result. Now, for you to be able to produce result, you need certain skills, certain amount of soft skill, if you want to call it by its name. So tell me about this learning. How do people go about it in Nigeria? Is it different from any other place?
Well, like I said, the aftermath of COVID-19 is the fact that more people have embraced online life as the real life. More people have their businesses there. And there's this gap. I used to offer digital marketing trainings and all of that content writing training in my office. Prior to COVID-19, I didn't see anybody coming for the training. Okay, I had one student who learned and was really happy he graduated and he's moved on with his life. But after COVID-19, there was a paradigm shift. More people are interested in learning the skills. So you see a lot of courses springing up, and they'll tell you pay $50 here, pay $50K here, pay $100K here, come learn this skill, come learn that skill, pay $25K here. Why? Because people are leveraging on what they already know. Probably those who are already using those skills. Some people don't know how to use, for instance, Microsoft Teams. They don't understand what Slack is about. They don't understand how to use Google or Google Drive. They don't know how to save. So you can't even do much if you don't have those elementary skills. You understand? So the first thing is to acquire those skills. And now, like I said, it's easier because more and more people are willing to share what they know at a cost. In fact, it's so trendy. If you go on LinkedIn, go on any social media platform, someone is selling the training, someone is selling the course and asking you to pay to learn. And the only way to grow really is to learn. So if you don't have the skill, you acquire them. It's either even if you do Google, it will help you to an extent, but you still need someone to guide you, share their experience, and put you through. Although a lot of people learn on Google for free, but then you think about your timing, think about your data. So when you add those two together, it comes down to taking the training. So it's advisable to find the course that works for you. Then there's Coursera, there's Allison, there are a lot of online platforms who have upgraded their courses so that you could go on those platforms, register, and then you could also learn. But it's important to learn a skill. Even those that have the skills are upgrading. I sit here in my office every day and I'm upgrading. I know so much about social media marketing, but every day I'm reading an email from a subscription I did to learn more, to learn the latest trend. I read recently that NFTs are coming to Instagram. A while ago, NFTs can be used on Twitter. So if you don't understand what NFT is, for instance, how do you even start finding how to comply or relate to people who now have NFTs as their profile pictures? So you see why it's so important to keep reading and keep learning, keep reading and keep, it's like an elastic band. You just keep stretching. So the moment you decide to settle, you just find that what you already know is stale. And nobody really wants that. The way to grow is to study. Even being a content person, I can't even afford not to read. I'm surrounded with books everywhere around me. Books, because I realize that I have to read. So the little time I have, I try my best to read a book or take a class online, probably on Zoom or any other platform.
All right, good. That's good. That is the mindset. You're going to have to continue to upgrade yourself because this thing doesn't happen by magic, no? All right, now, talking of mindset, how do you deal with those moments where things do not work the way you want it? I'm talking of the positive mindset that you need to have now, the self-motivation and the rest of it. Because nobody's coming to encourage you. You say you are in business, you are standing for yourself. So you are going to have to carry your cross the way they will call it, though. So tell me about that.
When you are starting a business, there's usually a drive, there's a desire. So you always need to go back and ask yourself, why did I start this business in the first place? So most times, money is not the only reason why you're starting a business. For example, personally, I enjoy impacting knowledge. I enjoy the fact that somebody walks up to me and say, because I came to your office, I worked with you for a while, I was able to learn A, B, C, D from you. Or I see someone who has worked with me doing very well. It gives me a lot of joy. Those whys are very important. Then there are times you get really discouraged about the finances. You're like, it's not adding up. This is not adding up. Maybe I should pack up. But you just tell yourself somehow you have to find a way to keep going, move on. You just have to try. Or is it when staff decide to just leave the office without proper resignation process and they just walk away, or they come back to you with a counter offer? You have to learn the art of compromise, find out what works, because you must consider the lifestyle and the family life of these people who work with you. You understand? I think the mindset really is to know that whatever happens, the show must go. Or, I read theater arts, and in the theater, they tell us that the show must go on. So maybe the lead character is not available. The person who was acting like the lead character, they will just tell him, oh, yeah, go there, go and play the role. This show must go on because people has bought tickets for the shows. So you can't afford to tell them, sorry, this show is not holding, take your money back. Where do you start that from? Sometimes those improvised characters actually deliver very well. Same also in business. Your staff disappoints you. Go and source another person that day. Outsource. You may pay more, but then you get the result done and the customer is happy that the job is done. Or you have more than you can handle. Delegate some. Partner with your other partners and tell them, okay, we share the profit together. I give you this referral, you're paying me this from return. But the mindset is you can't just stay there and just say things are not working and you're not willing to pull your weight. You have to be willing to pull your weight.
You must find a way to get it to work somehow. But maybe that is what the entrepreneur really is, no? That you are going to find a solution to the problem. Tell me about the power of storytelling in this what you do, no? because now you are creating content, you are telling story, you are using this story to be able to help your client to sell their goods and services. So tell me about this storytelling in it, the power of storytelling in your content creation.
Okay, one of the things I realize is that stories tell 1,000 lessons in a very memorable way. So if you wanted to pass across an information, instead of just coming and say, one, don't do this, two, don't do that, five, don't do that, just tell the story. And I guess, in schools then, in Nigeria here, Delta State, I remember that we have a course called Christian Religious Knowledge. Every time we are through with that course in the school, secondary school, we write this topic, they will say lessons. They write lessons. Maybe they write the story of Jesus, they write lessons, because they want you to extract life lessons that will help you live. You understand? So, and another thing about stories is if you don't tell your story, people will tell your story for you in a distorted way. In a distorted way. And I know nobody likes to see people tell their story in a narrative that does not project them the way they want to be seen. You understand? So own your story. Own your story. It's very important. Own your story. And to do that, you have to get perspective from your experiences. Okay? It's important because when you tell the story, I may forget everything, but I won't forget the story. And that's why if you come to the religious aspect of it, for those who are Muslims or Christians or any religion, you find out that there are always stories surrounding everything that happens within those religions. They'll tell you maybe about how maybe this happens to this person, that happened to this person, and this law was given. Because they believe that when you have those stories, it's easier for you to connect with the instructions that follows those laws. You understand? So it's very important to tell your story. Very, very important. Please own your story.
Good. Now you tell your story and your business is out there. How do you manage to get clients? What do you want to say about that? Whether right there in Lagos or in some other part, how do you market yourself to them before they can then say, okay, go ahead and do this for me?
The first thing is, even if you have one client, this is really the advice. Service that client or provide services or products to that client that are top notch, because that client will go ahead to create referrals. That's the cheapest way to sell your products. Creating valuable, outstanding products or services that people will keep referring. For example, in my business, I get lots of referrals. In fact, I've not started maximizing marketing my business. So sometimes I ask myself, by the time I decide to start marketing, doing the signposts, intentionally paying to advertise online, I will have probably more than I can show, because right now, the few customers that I have, I try to give them top-notch services. If they come for images, I try to make sure the images are the best. I try to make sure that they get the experience, that they are happy they came into the studio. Try to make sure that they are laughing when they're living, they're in a good mood. You understand? I try to create offers that is convenient for them and also convenient for my business. So that's one of the major ways to get businesses. Referrals are important. Adverts are important. Create a niche. You can also create, customized services. You may have different niches of customers, audiences. Some may not be able to afford a particular kind of service. So it's important for you to create niches. You can do, they call it segmented marketing. You know what this segment of your market needs. So you know how to couch your product. They know how to sell your product and your brands to them. For some people, you may have to go to them with your service or your products and then put a fee to it. Probably not so high, so I don't discourage them. So you have to also understand the niche marketing, understand your niche, and find out how to connect with them.
For somebody who want to get started, so maybe somebody meets you and I want to get started in digital, in creating content as a marketing strategy, where do you think this person should start from?
Wow, start from your own page. Start from your own page. If you don't have any customers right now, just start by telling your own story. Let people know you for something online. Online, lots of people know me for mental health advocacy because I started sharing about my own stories. In fact, from sharing about my stories, marketing myself as a mental health advocate, I've gotten lots of offers. I had an offer to write with an NGO in Canada recently to co-write a book with them. I've had offers to speak on different platforms. I had offers to talk to people on Twitter and the tweet thread. So But just be authentic in whatever you do. Start selling your stories. And sometimes I did a lot of free work for people. Then when I started, I look at an account that the account wasn't working. I walk up to them, say, I can manage your Twitter account. I know you're a pastor, for instance. I know the kind of content you create. Don't need to just give me your books, give me your recorded messages. I'll transcribe the messages and I'll read your books and I'll create content. And it worked a lot. So most of those customers, I did lots of free work for them based on relationships or proximity. They actually came back to me with jobs and even referrals. Content market and content creating is a lot of time. It's time consuming. So you can't take on too many jobs. You take so many jobs, it may end up disappointing some people because you're using your brain. And you don't have two brains, you have one brain. So even if you're delegating, you still need to monitor the quality of content coming out, which is almost as if you're doing it yourself.
Thank you for that. All right, now I wanted to use this few seconds to connect with people, let them know what you offer, how they can benefit from you. So go ahead and promote yourself.
Okay, thank you so much for the platform. My name is Precious Emodamori. I am a top-notch photographer. One of the beautiful things about having me as a photographer is that I can come to your home with my appliances, with my tools, especially if you're within the Lagos environment. I am also a very, very good content writer, even if I say that by myself. So I can create content for you surrounding your products or your service or an event, and then help you market it. Another unique thing I offer is within an event, I could actually type what each speaker is saying and upload in real time with their pictures, with their images. So those who follow online, who can listen to the audio or to the live videos of the event can actually follow on Twitter and see them as Twitter feeds typed out correctly. And also I offer digital marketing. I help you sell your products online. I help you upload your products and talk about them in a way that people could also buy into your products. Thank you so much. It's been nice talking with you all on this platform.
You're welcome. So what will be your final statement to conclude?
Like I said, you must have staying power. You don't have to give up. If you are discouraged, remember that there are lots of people looking up to you. Lots of people, you don't know them. In fact, most people look up to you and they are like, if I could be like you. So that should encourage you to keep going. Okay, that should encourage the network, partnership works, find the right collaborations and get going.
Thank you so much, Precious. It has been a very important conversation.
Thank you so much. Yes, bye.
If you enjoyed this podcast, make sure you subscribe so you never miss any of our future episodes. Rate and review Obehi Podcast and share with your friends who might need it. I remain Obehi Ewafo. Thank you so much for listening and talk to you in the next episode.